The prison wing of Outpost K-97 smelled like rust, cold metal, and anger. Zara, the alien girl, sat against the wall, her hands tied behind her back. Her skin was a deep silver blue, her eyes glowing orange with fury. She had been screaming for hours. Now she just growled like a wild animal. Guards walked past her cage without even looking. One of them whispered, "That's the one who bit Commander Rax, nearly tore off his finger." She broke a control panel with her bare hands. Another sighed and flooded a whole corridor with gas. "No one can control her," someone muttered. Everyone gave up on her. No one wanted the responsibility. She was called the Wild One, but today, someone unexpected arrived. Heavy boots echoed in the hallway. A human soldier walked toward her cell. His name was Jace Ruin, former combat sergeant, known for surviving 3 wars and training beast-like creatures into loyal war dogs. The guards laughed when they saw him. "You're here for her?" One chuckled. "Jac, he didn't answer." He looked at Zara silently. Her clothes were torn, her arms bruised, but her eyes were still full of fire. She bared her sharp teeth and hissed, "You're wasting your time, human. I don't obey anyone." Jace leaned closer, his voice calm. "I'm not here to tame you," he said. "I'm here to see if there's anything left worth saving." Zara blinked, confused for a second, but quickly snarled again. The guards opened the door. "She's yours now," they said mockingly. "Good luck." Jace didn't chain her. He simply said, "Walk." Zara didn't move. Then he added softly, "Or I carry you." She stood up, not because she wanted to, but because she hated the idea of being touched by a human. She followed him through the outpost's lower levels. Other soldiers stared. Some shook their heads. That poor guy. He's going to regret this. He brought her to a small room, plain walls, a bunk, a table, and one locked door. "This is your space now," Jace said. "No guards. No chains." "But you follow my rules," Zara scoffed. "What if I don't?" Jace didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He simply walked over to a closet, pulled out a bucket and a cloth, and dropped it in front of her. "Then you clean this room. Every corner. Start now." Zara looked at the bucket like it was poison. "I'm not a slave." "No," Jace said, sitting calmly at the table, "but you need structure. And it starts with small things." Zara kicked the bucket across the floor. Water spilled. Jac, he stood. Walked over slowly. Zara flinched, expecting a slap, but instead, he grabbed her wrist, gently but firmly. "If you throw the bucket again," he said, "you'll clean with your tongue." Zara growled. Her heart raced, but something about his calm voice, his eyes, it made her pause. No one had ever been this calm with her. Not even her own people. She looked away and muttered, "Fine." Hours passed. She scrubbed the floor angrily. She cursed under her breath in her alien language. Jace didn't say anything. He just watched. He gave her food, but only after she finished cleaning. That night, she sat on the floor, breathing hard. "You think this will break me?" she asked. "No," Jace replied. "I think it will teach you." "Teach me what?" "That you are more than your anger." Zara didn't sleep. She sat awake, staring at the ceiling, confused and angry. No one had ever spoken to her like that. No one treated her like a person. She was always just a problem, a weapon, or a beast. The next morning, she woke up to find new clothes on her bunk. Simple, clean, warm. And next to them, a note. "You can choose. Keep fighting or start rebuilding." Her hands trembled slightly. She didn't understand this human. Why wasn't he hurting her? Why wasn't he yelling? Why was he giving her a choice? She dressed slowly. The fabric felt soft, comforting. As she stepped out of the room, she found Jace waiting. He handed her a tool. "Today we fixed the drone you broke." Zara stared at it. "I don't know how," she said. Then you learn, Jace replied. You've got a strong mind. Use it. She frowned. I thought you were going to punish me. I already did, he said. You just didn't notice. In the shadows of the hallway, someone watched their interaction. A figure with sharp eyes and a cold heart. They whispered into a communicator. The human is changing her. This is dangerous. We must act before it's too late. Zara was standing in front of the mirror, but she wasn't looking at her face. She was staring at her wrists. The rope marks were fading, but the memory of being chained, of being treated like a thing, still burned in her skin. Then she remembered the human's hands. They didn't hurt. They held her, not to punish, but to stop her from destroying herself. Her glowing orange eyes narrowed. She didn't trust him, but he hadn't done what others had. That made him dangerous in a new way. Jace knocked once before entering the room. Zara quickly turned, defensive, but he wasn't angry. He walked in, holding a folded blanket and something strange, a small silver cube. What is that? She asked sharply. Jace placed the cube on the table. Discipline cube, he said simply. Used in military training. Helps you build habits, she scoffed. Is it supposed to shock me if I disobey? No, he said, sitting down. It rewards effort, tracks how many tasks you complete. And you'll be completing many. Zara rolled her eyes. I'm not a robot. No, he said, but you can be better than what you were. She picked up the cube and threw it at him. He caught it without blinking. You still think anger is your power, he said. But discipline, that's real strength. That day, Jace began his system. Simple rules. Clear consequences. Rule 1. Wake up at sunrise. No exceptions. Rule 2. No lying. If you break something, fix it. Rule 3. No violence unless it's to protect. Follow these, Jace said, and you earn freedom. Zara laughed in his face. Freedom? I don't even know what that word means. Then it's time you learn, he replied. Her first task was ridiculous. Fold these uniforms, Jace said, handing her a pile of military clothes. Zara looked disgusted. This is a joke, Jace smiled, calm. Everything starts small. Even stars begin as dust. She huffed, but started folding. Badly. She crushed one sleeve into a ball and tossed it on the table. Jace picked it up, unfolded it, and placed it back in front of her. Again, this time properly. I'll do it wrong 100 times. She warned. Then I'll correct you 100 times, he answered. Her teeth clenched. Why wasn't he yelling? Why wasn't he angry? No one had ever been this patient. It felt like punishment in its own way. By evening, Zara had folded 20 uniforms. Her fingers were sore. Her pride was bruised, but deep down, she didn't hate the feeling. She hated that she didn't hate it. Later that night, she watched from the corner as Jace repaired a damaged drone. His hands moved like they'd done it 1,000 times. Didn't look up as he spoke. You're not wild, Zara. You're undisciplined. That's different. She stayed quiet. Then he said, tomorrow you help me fix one of these. She frowned. I don't know how. I'll teach you. Zara didn't answer. But her heart beat faster. No one had ever offered to teach her. Not like that. But far away, trouble was building. On another part of the station, a tall alien with skin like cracked stone spoke to a hidden group. She's becoming soft under that human's care, he said. A voice growled. Then we take her back. Break her again. She's a weapon, not a girl. The tall alien nodded. Prepare the ship. Back in Jace's quarters, Zara sat by the door as the lights dimmed. She didn't escape. She didn't scream. She just stared at the ceiling, whispering to herself, why is this harder than chains? The explosion wasn't real, just a dream. But Zara jolted awake, her chest tight with panic. She looked around Jace's room, her breaths fast and shallow. No chains, no cell walls. No guards shouting. Orders. Just silence. And the soft light of morning creeping through the window, and yet her body still. Expected pain. Her kind was trained to fear mornings, because that's when punishments came. But here, Jace hadn't even touched her. That made her more confused than anything else. Jace walked in, holding a small bag of tools and a datapad. "You're awake," he said. "Good. Time to keep your promise," Zara groaned. "What promise?" He placed a broken drone on the table. The thing was old, scratched, and lifeless. "You said yesterday you'd help me fix one." "I said I didn't know how," she corrected. "You didn't say you wouldn't learn." She stared at the drone, then at the tools, then back at him. "Fine," she said, crossing her arms. "But if I break it, don't blame me." Jace placed the first tool in her hand. It was cold. It felt wrong. She wasn't made for small, delicate work. She was made for destruction. At least that's what everyone told her. He guided her gently. "This part controls the rotors. Loosen the clamps, don't twist them," Zara muttered. "Why does this even matter?" He said nothing, just looked at her calmly. Some part of her wanted to throw the drone across the room, just to see if he'd finally lose his temper. But she didn't. Instead, she tried. For the first time in a long time, she tried. They worked for an hour. Then, 2, Zara made mistakes, lots of them. Screws fell. Wires sparked. She even dropped the casing on her foot and yelped. But Jace never laughed, never got angry. Just helped her fix it. Then finally, the drone's small screen lit up. Blue lights flickered. It hovered for a second before falling back onto the table. Not perfect, but working. Zara stared at it. "I did that," she whispered. Jace smiled faintly. "You can follow instructions," she scowled. "Don't get used to it." Later that evening, Jace gave her a reward, a small sweet cube earth candy. Zara looked at it suspiciously. "What's this?" "A reward for completing your first task. I don't want bribes." "It's not a bribe," he said. "It's recognition. You earned it." She stared at it for a long time, then slowly, she ate it. Into her shock, it tasted good, warm, sweet, comforting, and unfamiliar. But peace never lasted long. That night, Zara wandered into the hallway alone. She stood near the cargo bay, watching the stars through the glass wall. She didn't hear the footsteps behind her until it was too late. A rough voice said, "There you are." She turned sharply. 3 aliens stood there, tall, armored, and cruel. They were from her old clan. One of them sneered, "You smell like a pet now." Zara's fists clenched. "What do you want?" "We're taking you back," the leader said. "The humans making you weak." Zara spat at his feet. "I'd rather be weak than a slave." One of them reached for her arm. Before he could touch her, Jace's voice thundered from behind. She said no. They turned. Jace stood at the end of the corridor, unarmed, calm. But his eyes were ice. "Touch her again," he said, "and I'll show you what discipline really means." The aliens laughed. "She's not yours, human." "No," Jace replied, walking forward. "She's herself. That's the difference." The aliens backed off, but their eyes promised return. "We'll come back," they warned. "She won't. Be yours forever." They disappeared into the shadows. Zara stood frozen. Jace looked at her, his voice low but steady. "You have to decide soon," he said. "Which path you want, the one where you obey only pain, or the one where you choose your own strength." Zara didn't answer, but her hand, without thinking, touched the folded drone tool still tucked into her pocket. Zara laughed, but it wasn't real laughter. She was sitting in the corner of the room, arms around her knees, laughing to herself. In short, broken breaths, tears were running down her face, but she didn't know why. "I folded clothes. I fixed a drone. I ate candy." Each word came out like a joke, like a betrayal of who she thought she was. For so long, she had survived by being wild, loud, angry, unbreakable. Now, she was doing human chores, and part of her didn't hate it. That's what scared her most. The door opened quietly. Jace stepped in, holding 2 cups of warm broth. He didn't ask why she was on the floor. He simply sat beside her and placed 1 cup near her feet. Zara didn't move. "Why aren't you mad at me?" she asked softly. Jace took a sip from his cup. "Why should I be?" "Because I'm still broken inside," she whispered. "You should have left me in the cage." Jace shook his head. "You're not broken. You're healing." Zara finally looked at him. Her orange eyes weren't burning now. They were trembling. Later that night, a storm hit the outpost. Heavy winds, system glitches, flickering lights. Zara lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She couldn't sleep. Not because of the noise, but because of her thoughts. Her clan tried to take her back. They called her weak, useless, a pet, and worse. She believed them. She sat up and walked to the door. She opened it slowly and stepped into the hallway barefoot. Silent, she didn't run. She didn't scream. She just walked into the cold. By the time Jace noticed she was gone, the alarms were already starting. He found her outside, in the storm, standing barefoot in the rain. Her hair was soaked. Her shoulders shaking. She looked like a shadow, small and lost in the wide metal corridor. Jace didn't yell. He didn't demand answers. He just took off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. She didn't push him away. "Not this time," she whispered. "I didn't know where to go." "You came to the edge," he said gently. "That's where truth lives." She sank to her knees, not out of pain, out of surrender. Not to Jace, but to something inside herself. The walls she'd built were cracking. He knelt beside her. "I don't need you to be perfect," he said. "I just need you to keep trying." "Why?" she asked. "I've been nothing but trouble." "Because," he said, "I've seen people who were truly lost. You're not one of them." Zara stared at the floor. Then, slowly, she nodded. Only once, but it was enough. Later, back in the room, she sat on the bed for the first time. Jace handed her a dry towel and new clothes. She dried her hair and whispered, "Thank you." He nodded, then said, "Tomorrow we begin defense training." "Defense?" She blinked. "With you? With me? Why?" "Because you'll need to defend yourself if your past comes back again." She smiled faintly. "You think I can learn?" "I know you can." Meanwhile, far beyond the outpost, the alien who tried to take Zara back stood before a darker figure, a warlord with eyes like burning coal. "She's resisting," the tall alien said. The warlord growled. "Then we bring her down." He turned toward a row of battleships. "Next time, we don't ask, we take." Back at the outpost, Zara finally lay down. This time, she didn't sleep on the floor. She pulled the blanket over her body, closed her eyes, and whispered something no one had ever heard from her lips before. "Safe." The training room was quiet, too quiet. Zara stood in the center, holding a wooden staff in both hands. Her breathing was steady, her posture sharp. Jace stood across from her, arms crossed. "Again," he said. Zara struck the air with the staff. Left, right, block, turn. Her moves weren't perfect, but they were focused. Each motion was smoother than the last. Jace nodded. "Good, you're learning control," Zara smirked. "And you thought I was just a wild animal." "I never thought that," he said. "You did." Her smile faded slightly. She looked down, thoughtful. "Maybe you're right." But as she returned to her room, she saw something that made her freeze. A single mark on her door, a symbol drawn with black dust. She knew it. A threat from her old clan. She grabbed it and crushed it in her hand. They were watching, across the galaxy. The warlord slammed his fist into a table. "She dares to resist?" "With a human?" one of his scouts replied. "She's changed, sir. The human is training her. Then he dies, the warlord said. And she returns in chains. He turned to his warriors. Prepare a raid. We take her tonight. Back on the outpost, Zara walked into Jace's quarters. He saw her clenched fists, the dust still on her hand. They marked my door, she said quietly. Jace stood up. They're coming. Zara looked at him, nervous. Do we run? Jace shook his head. We fight. That night, the skies over the outpost glowed red. Unidentified ships were spotted on sensors. Guards shouted. Weapons clicked into place. Panic began to spread. Jace geared up silently. He handed Zara a blade and said, "Stay close." "I'm ready," she said. "No," he replied, locking eyes with her. "Now you choose to be ready." She took a breath and nodded. The enemy broke in through the west wall. Explosions echoed. Zara saw them, her former clan, storming in like wolves. Faces she once knew. They shouted her name, Zara. "Come back, you belong to US." Jay stepped in front of her. "She belongs to no one." The fight began. Jace moved like fire calm but unstoppable. Zara stayed by his side, blocking, striking, dodging. One of the enemies rushed at her. For a second, she froze. Memories flooded. Back chains, beatings, shame. But then, she remembered the folded clothes, the candy, the drone, the warmth. She screamed and struck hard, knocking her attacker to the floor. The warlord appeared through the smoke, a towering figure with burning eyes and armored fists. "You were born to be a weapon," he growled. Zara stepped forward. "Maybe I was, but now I'm something more." The warlord charged, but this time Zara didn't run. She met him head on. The fight was brutal. Jace tried to help, but Zara shouted, "Let me do this." With skill, strength, and fire in her heart, she fought like never before. And when she finally knocked the warlord down, she didn't kill him. She turned her back. "I choose who I am now," she said. The enemy retreated. The outpost was scarred, but standing. Jace walked up beside her. "You didn't run." Zara looked at him, her face calm for the first time in years. "I didn't need to." But deep in the shadows, the warlord's eyes still glowed. He wasn't finished. Asterisk. She stood on the roof alone. Above the battlefield. Smoke curled around Zara's legs. Below her, fire burned in the east wing of the outpost. Dead silence. No gunfire. No shouting. Just the hum of broken lights and the weight of what she had done. She had fought back. She had won. But why did it feel so heavy? Jace's voice came through her earpiece. "Zara, come back down. You're not alone anymore." She didn't answer. Not yet. She was thinking about all the others like her, those still in cages, still forced to obey. She clenched her fists. This isn't just about me anymore. Earlier that day, the outpost was patching itself up after the raid. Zara sat by Jace's side in the command room. A medic stitched a deep cut on his shoulder. "You shouldn't have stood in front of me," she said quietly. Jace smiled. "I didn't. I stood with you." She looked down at her hands, strong hands. "Free hands. I want to go back," she whispered. Jace blinked. "Back where?" "To where they keep others like me." His face turned serious. "That's a suicide mission." "They won't expect it," she said. "They think I'm still scared." "And are you?" he asked. Zara looked up, flames in her eyes. "No, not anymore." They left at night in a stolen ship. Zara, Jace, and 2 other soldiers. Their destination, an old transport base once run by her clan, now a prison for alien slaves. Zara remembered the place well. The cold floors, the electric chains, the smell of fear. But this time, she wasn't walking in with her head down. She was leading. They landed in silence just before dawn. Zara and Jace moved fast, cutting power lines and disabling guards one by one. Zara found the cages. Inside them were young alien girls, all with marks like hers, all afraid, They stared at her, not with anger, but hope. She opened the first cage. "You're free now," she whispered. "No one comes for us," one girl said, trembling. "We're nothing." Zara knelt and touched her hand. "I was like you once, but someone came for me." The alarm finally sounded. Heavy boots, weapons raised. "Enemies coming," Jace shouted from across the hall. "Zara, get them out." "I'll hold the line," she turned to the girls. "Go. Through the service tunnel, now." One by one, they ran, but Zara stayed. She ran back to Jace. He was pinned down by 3 warriors. She jumped into the fight with full force, spinning, striking, blocking. Together they fought like a single flame. Finally, silence. The base was in ruin. The cages were empty. The freed girls stood outside under the morning light, breathing fresh air for the first time. Zara turned to Jace. "I know what I want to do now," she said. "Tell me." "I want to teach them, train them, show them how to fight back like I did." Jace nodded. "Then that's what we'll do, but far away, on a high mountain fortress." The warlord slammed his fist into a command table. "She humiliated me." He turned to a strange figure in the shadows. "Bring me the human, and break the girl." The figure stepped forward, tall, armored, with glowing red eyes. "As you command." Zara stood in front of a mirror, not to see herself, but to say goodbye. The wild creature she once was, the one who bit guards and spit in faces, was no longer staring back. Now she saw someone with calm in her eyes, strength in her hands, purpose in her heart. She whispered to her reflection, "You're not a weapon anymore. You're a warrior." Then she turned. Because war was coming. In the skies above the outpost, enemy ships arrived like thunder. A final strike from the warlord led by his most feared commander. A creature of steel and fire, no face, no voice, only destruction. He had one order: kill the human, break the girl. Jace loaded his weapon slowly, glancing at Zara. "You don't have to do this." Zara tightened the straps on her armor. "I do. For them. For all the ones still in chains." He nodded. "Then we stand together." "No," she said. "This time I lead." The battle began before sunrise. Explosions rocked the outpost. Soldiers scrambled. Sirens wailed. Zara moved like wind, fast, focused, free. The younger alien girls she saved were behind her, watching, learning. She had become what she never had: a guide, a protector. Then the enemy commander landed, a giant of burning metal and brutal strength. He crushed walls, swatted aside defenders, and walked straight toward Jace. Zara saw him too late. "Jace!" But the commander was fast. Too fast. Jace was thrown into the air like a toy and slammed into a steel wall. He didn't get up. Zara screamed, rage and fear twisting inside her. The older would have broken down. But now, she stepped forward. Steady. The fight was brutal. Zara took hit after hit, but she didn't fall. Every move she made was with purpose. Every block, every strike, every breath. She remembered Jace's words. "Discipline is strength," she whispered. "I am strong." Then, with a final leap, she struck the commander's core with a blade right where the armor opened. He dropped with a crash, shaking the ground. Silence followed. She ran to Jace. He was barely conscious, bleeding, weak. She held his hand. "I didn't run this time," she said softly. "I stood." He smiled faintly. "You've become more than I ever imagined." "You made me believe I could be more," she whispered. Later, the outpost stood quiet. The sun rose over the field. The battle was won. Zara led the rescued girls in rebuilding. They cleaned, trained, and stood proud. No more cages. No more fear. Just future. Jace sat nearby, healing, watching her with quiet pride. Someone asked him, "Is she yours?" He shook his head. "No, she's herself." Then he added, smiling, "But she's family now." That night, Zara stood on the roof again, just like before. But this time, she wasn't alone. She looked at the stars and whispered, "You didn't tame me, human. You taught me how to master myself." Then she turned, walked down, and began training the next girl who had once been called wild.